All right, and welcome into another episode of the Young Dad Podcast. I am maybe a little too excited for this. I'm a little starstruck at this episode by my guest here, but super excited to welcome Ryan Gardner. Ryan is the co-founder and CEO of Bucked Up, a brand known for its pre-workout supplements and other health and nutritional supplements. He founded the company in 2016, and he has been instrumental in its growth from a local supplement brand to achieving international recognition. Under his leadership, Bucked Up has become the number one best-selling pre-workout, available in over 20,000 stores worldwide. Gardner's entrepreneurial journey with Bucked Up started with his vision and determination to turn a concept into a reality. His approach has been marked by innovation, strategic excellence, and a commitment to providing high-quality fitness supplements. His efforts have not only positioned Bucked Up as a leader in the fitness supplement industry, but has also garnered personal accolades, such as being named a Utah Business Magazine 2023 CEO of the Year. Gardner, along with his brother Jeff, sorry, Ryan, along with your brother Jeff,
Yep.
have been focused on making Bucked Up a globally recognized brand. Jeff serves as a CXO, or the Chief Experience Officer, complementing Ryan's role by focusing on brand expansion and customer experience. Their collaborative efforts have emphasized innovation as seen in the development of new products like the LFG Burn Energy Drink, aimed at combating fat burning power or combining fat burning power with real energy. Ryan's leadership at Bucked Up reflects a deep commitment to innovation, quality, customer satisfaction, driving the brand to significant achievements in the competitive fitness supplement market. Ryan, you're also a husband, father of four kids,
Yeah.
and that was one heck of an introduction, I'm sure. So, Ryan, tell us about you. Tell us about Bucked Up. Tell us about your fatherhood journey. Anything.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Um, Anything to kind of help get our brand out there a little bit more is really good. Believe it or not, I was actually born and raised on a farm. I do have an identical twin brother, Jeff, that you mentioned. Um, we were twins, so we were competitive. We've been competitive since the womb, trying to get out. um, but we were really competitive guys. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but when I was in 10th grade, my twin brother Jeff made the basketball team and I didn't make it.
No way.
And we didn't know how could they determine who was going to win. So we were so competitive. We'd play every day and we were fighting every day. I got sent to Alaska my 10th to 11th grade summers because we were fighting like 4 or 5 times a day just to see who was best, right? And so it was like my determination to say, hey, I'm just as good at basketball than you are. And same with soccer too. So, anyways, that's kind of a little bit of background. We were born and raised on a farm. We were taught to work really hard. Um, we served missions for our church. We had a previous conversation about the LDS church. I'm here in Utah, just south of Salt Lake City, in Orem, Utah, American Fork, Utah, in that area. We like sports. We like anything to do with being competitive. That's what we love to do. So that's just a little bit about me. I am married. I've been married for 23 years. I have 4
Congratulations.
kids. I have 2 boys and then 2 girls. And the girls are hitting the prime age of 14 and 17. And I've got 2 words: high maintenance. So they're in
For sure.
that age that it's, yeah, they're giving us our challenges, but they're awesome. They're fun. They're fun to be around, and they're really great girls. So
Fantastic. That's amazing. So with Bucked Up, I'm a huge fan of Bucked Up. I've always liked Bucked Up products. I've always had being I went to school at BYU Idaho for a while, so supplement stores carried Bucked Up back 10 years ago. Always liked the products. That was back 10 years ago. Those are in the early days.
early days.
Um, I remember the branding, seeing it in Utah when I would travel down and visit. Now I started taking the Bucked Up organic greens. I've probably been using those things for more than 6 months at this point.
Nice.
Um, I absolutely love the organic greens. They're my favorite thing. And so, kind of how we connected was through the greens a little bit.
Yep.
Um, with that, I used to do videos, just me and my brother. We would exchange videos of like greens, us holding each other accountable for taking our greens.
Yeah.
That's where it started. It's just an accountability thing
Yep.
to make sure, like, hey, did you take your greens? Send me your video, and it would just start with thoughts and random things. It would fall into that, and then I was like, you know what? I'll just post these uh, on the podcast
Yep.
Instagram because why not? I mean, it's I already recorded the video anyway,
Yep.
and so then I just started tagging Bucked Up, hashtag not a sponsored post, and then you liked one. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
the CEO liked it, and then I shot my shot. I slid into your DMs, um, and was like, hey, this is weird, but would you be interested? And then next thing you know, here we are. So I can't speak enough good things about the Bucked Up brand. It's high
Well,
quality. Like if I miss a day on my greens, I feel terrible. Like I feel so bad. When I use the pre-workout supplements, the LFG products, my workouts are great. They're so much better than what they could have been. Now I haven't tried the canned products yet because I can't find them anywhere here. They're not at the Walmarts here yet. They're not at the supplement stores. So I'm just doing the powders, but love them. They're
great.
such great products.
Well, I do appreciate you, tagging us. You know what I mean, and all the support for our brand. Our core values are a great customer experience, giving you high quality ingredients and products that actually work. And then we have something for everyone. No matter where you are in life or on your fitness journey, we have something for you. So, we are a sports nutrition company. One of our best sellers is pre-workouts. We have several different pre-workouts designed to do whatever you're looking to accomplish. We have a pre-workout for you, whether it's losing more weight, or whether it's just getting a better pump at the gym, or it's really pushing really, really hard. We have something for you. And so that's really what we're all about. I mean, just to back up just a little bit, how we started is Jeff and I ran an affiliate network. We're online marketing guys. So we would have people
Okay.
come to us with a product or a service, and they'd be like, hey, I got this product. Could you drive traffic to my website and get me sales? And we would say, yes, we can. You want to do this to your website? Hey, improve so that we can improve the way it converts. And then all we would do is we would turn around and give it to our affiliate network, which we had thousands of publishers that could all drive traffic either through email or search engine optimization or pay-per-click. One way or another, they may have had an email list or a website that got a lot of traffic. We could drive traffic through our publishers to a product or a service. And that's what we did. And we finally got smart and said, hey, we're tired of doing it for everyone else. If we know how to drive traffic, why aren't we doing it for our own products, right? And so that's kind of what we did. The next guy that walked in to our office, he happened to be selling a supplement called L-Arginine Plus. And this guy was selling about $600 or $700 a day online of L-Arginine Plus. When he came in and talked to us about 2 hours later, we owned 50% of the company and we were partners with him.
Whoa. Okay.
And we said, hey, let us handle the website. Let us drive all the traffic. You just make sure that it's in stock. And you just make sure that you ship and deliver and have it in stock for us to sell. Within about 4 weeks, we were generating about $3,500 a day in sales. So we went from $600 a day to about $3,500 a day in sales.
Whoa. Okay.
And so that was a product called L-Arginine Plus. It was one bottle and it was one supplement. And we were like, man, supplements is where it's at. We ended up figuring out a few things while running L-Arginine Plus. Like, for instance, Google started rewarding people for having an exact match domain at one time. So if you were searching for, let's say, pre-workout and you owned preworkout.com, they would automatically rank you at the top.
Gotcha.
And so what happens is we ended up saying we need to go out and buy L-Arginine.com. And I found a guy in the UK that had and owned L-Arginine.com, and I called him up and said, hey, I would like to buy L-Arginine.com. And he goes, well, it's not for sale. And I said, well, everything is for sale. How much do you want for it? He goes, I want 35 grand for the domain name. And it was just ranking because he had L-Arginine.com and a bunch of content, but he wasn't selling anything. So I ended up negotiating with him, and I got the domain name for $25,000. And we put it up on Google. Like, we got it ranked, and we started putting our products up on L-Arginine.com. And we were immediately ranking the number one ranking product, selling a product besides WebMD. I think WebMD was ahead of us, but then it was L-Arginine.com. And we ended up ranking really, really quickly for L-Arginine. A month or two later, they turned off all of the pay-per-clicks for L-Arginine. And we were the first thing to say. So we were making $4 to $5 million a year just on L-Arginine.com.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
And we
crazy.
knew, and we were driving traffic for everybody else. So we knew how it worked and what to sell and how to upsell them and everything else. And so that's what we did. And it worked really, really well. A couple months later, or a year later, or 2 years later, actually, once we started L-Arginine, about 2 years later, we read an article in Sports Illustrated that said, deer antler spray is banned in Major League Baseball. And we were like, what's deer antler spray? So we started looking into it. Well, we also went to, and we were like, this could be another product just like L-Arginine Plus. So we went to GoDaddy, and we saw that the domain name was available for $6.99. And we purchased the domain name Deer Antler Spray. There was other people selling Deer Antler Spray, but they didn't buy deerantlerspray.com. I don't know why.
Right.
And we started selling Deer Antler Spray. We found a manufacturer in Florida. We started selling Deer Antler Spray, and we realized not everyone reads Sports Illustrated. We were only selling about 10 to 12 bottles a day, and we were like, wow, let's hope we sell out. We bought about 3,500 bottles. Let's hope we sell out before they expire. And about 8 months later, Ray Lewis gets accused of taking it right before the Super Bowl. He had torn his tricep before the Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah, I know. Okay, yeah.
Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
And he got accused of taking deer antler spray. Somebody held up a receipt and said, hey, I see that you purchased deer antler spray from this source. Well, every 5 minutes it was mentioned deer antler spray. We'd get 100 orders like that. 100 orders. We sold out of all of our bottles in 1 day. The very next day, GNC called us and said, how fast could you get us 30,000 bottles? It may be banned in professional sports because they feel like it gives an athlete an edge, but it's not banned for everybody to take, for the regular athlete and everybody else to take. So we were like, hey, let me find out. I called the manufacturer and said, hey, this is Ryan with Deer Antler Spray. He goes, I thought I'd be hearing from you. How many do you need? And so I purchased about 50,000 bottles, and we were off to the races, and we were selling at GNC within like 4 weeks, we were in GNC selling thousands of bottles every week. Yeah.
And then
we started going to expos with just deer antler spray. After we went to expos, we were like, what is everybody selling? Oh, they're selling a pre-workout. What's a pre-workout? We didn't even know what a pre-workout was. And we started taking some pre-workouts, and we were about to, our faces felt like they were going to melt. They have beta alanine. Most 99% of pre-workouts have beta alanine, and we had never tried it before. So we were taking it, and we were like, oh my gosh, it's making me itch. Why would anybody take this?
Oh, I hate, that's the worst part about pre-workouts. I enjoy taking one. It's one I take. It's actually not BAMP. Or woke AF. It's a different brand. I can't remember the brand off the top of my head, but I like to take it in the mornings in replace of like a coffee or like a Monster or something, because I feel like that's better for me overall. Like I would for sure I would probably take BAMP, honestly, looking at it, a high stimulant nootropic.
Yeah, pre-workout.
So I would take that right now, but very similar, but it has that where I'll drink it and my ears get itchy, like my tip in my ears.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, oh, it drives me crazy.
Well, the reason why 99% of pre-workouts have beta-alanine in it is because it buffers lactic acid. You could actually push it a lot harder and a lot longer than you would without it. It buffers that lactic acid buildup. So, for instance, if you can bench, a certain amount of weight 10 times with beta-alanine, you should be able to push it 20% more. They
Yep,
have
yep.
proven studies that you can push it a lot longer and harder because it blocks a little bit of it buffers the lactic acid. It takes a lot longer for that lactic acid to build up. So that's why most of them contain that. And after we went to those expos, we were like, hey, we need to come out with a pre-workout. Well, what are we going to call it? And we stuck with the deer theme and we said, hey, let's come out with a full line of products and let's call our pre-workout Bucked Up. And in 2016, the beginning of 2016, we started Bucked Up. And we started with 1,000 bottles of Bucked Up, and we took it to the LA Fit Expo, and we sold all 1,000 bottles in 2 days.
Whoa.
And one thing that we did differently than everybody else is that we told them exactly what it was in our formula. So we said, here is a game-changing formula. We're putting clinically proven ingredients at their clinical dose, and you can see exactly how much we put in it. So when somebody would come up to us at the expo, we would say, hey, look, right here it shows that we put in 6 grams of citrulline malate. How much does this person across the row from us sell? So they would walk over, they would ask them how much citrulline they have in it, and they would look at the back and they didn't know. They couldn't tell them how much citrulline they had in it. So we came out with one of the first non-proprietary blends. And now everybody's pretty much copied our formulas and our non-proprietary blend, and they just change things up just a little bit. You know what I mean? So, and that's what we do. And we were off to the races, and we've doubled every year. We've done really well, and we're in over 40,000 different locations right now. We're in every Walmart, every GNC, every vitamin shop. And we're throughout the mom and pop supplement shops throughout the country, as well as convenience stores now. So you're going to start seeing them pop up all over the place. Like we're really,
and the Walmart one is a little bit newer, right?
Yeah, 2023, we're in functional beverage. But if you type in, when you go into Walmart, for instance, if you pull up the app and you say Bucked Up, it'll tell you what aisle Bucked Up is on in Walmart and on Walmart.com. Okay. So you should be able to find Bucked Up in every Walmart.
I love that. No, that's really cool because it's crazy because when I remember seeing it when I was personal training right out of the college a little bit. Mm-hmm. I did some personal training stuff, seeing the supplements. It was really small. It was right in that, those early days. That's when I was finishing up my college and still around in Idaho quite a bit, doing this stuff, seeing it there. It's great. And I think it's really cool that you guys have so many different options because so many companies that make a pre-workout, they just change the flavor profile, really. They don't fully change the makeup of it. But you guys have, this is really cool, a whole pre-workout quiz, an 8-question quiz to get matched with a pre-workout that's going to be best for the individual. Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's super sensitive to caffeine, you may want something a little less or zero caffeine. We have pre-workouts and we have pump products that have zero caffeine in them, all the way up to somebody who wants something like Mother Bucker, which will just knock you on your butt. You take a half scoop and it's gonna rock your world. So
definitely, and I think it's so cool. And I see that there's
we did a study. We have an ambassador program, and we also get feedback from GNC and Vitamin Shop, and we realize that we're missing out on a lot of clientele due to the fact that our brand looks a little more aggressive, and we needed to come out with something for women. Like when we went and talked to Vitamin Shop, they go, "Did you know 75% of the people who buy your product are men?" And we're like, "Wow, that's a pretty big difference." On our website, it's not quite that. It's like 55% men and 45% women. But when it comes to people buying our product, we want to have something available for anyone. We do boot camps, and inside those boot camps, a lot of them are like, "Hey, can we take a lot of women are saying, hey, can we take Bucked Up? So it's like we want to have something for them as well. And the Babe line has done really, really well. Bucked Up by Babe done really well since the launch. I mean, we've done millions of dollars in sales on Babe by Bucked Up. And it's really going to be a staple product for us. And we feel like we can meet the needs of the women out there that want, something a little more feminine and a little less aggressive. So it's been good.
Definitely. And I think that's important because I find that a lot, even like the podcasting demographic. Like, I have probably like about a 60-40 split on like men to women. So I have a lot of women that are out there that are listening, that'll be listening to this when it comes out. And they'll be like, well, what Bucked Up? That sounds like a dude's brand, but it's so important to have that hit that female demographic because I work with mostly women. I work with all women pretty much. Out of a staff of 25, there's five guys that work in my program. I work in mental health.
Oh,
And so I get asked by them all the time. They're like, what do you think of this pre-workout? What do you think of this? I'm like, well, do you think that's going to be the one for you? Because that's going to have, X, Y, and Z. Read the label. I don't think that's going to be most beneficial to you. But being able to turn them on to like one more geared for their bodies, for who they are, and maybe they are trying to hit it hard. Maybe they are trying to get, the bucked out or the
like woke AF or mother
yeah,
bucker.
woke, yeah,
Yeah. Look, women are strong, right?
they
And
are.
they're like, hey, we don't need something less than a man does. And it's true. And they take that pre-workout, they take it just as much as men do. So I'm not taking that away from them for sure. So how
No,
long have you
exactly.
been doing your podcast for?
So I've had this podcast has been going.
2022. Okay, cool.
Yep.
And why did you come up with the name Young Dad, or what made you come up with that?
100%. So Young Dad, so it all kind of started, the origins of the podcast, kind of like yourself and your brother. My brother and I would just play games. We would play PlayStation, play Madden, 2K, MLB The Show, whatever our flavor of the night was, kind of thing. And we would just have these long conversations while we were playing these games. Because that was like our time. Like, kids were asleep. My ex-wife at the time, she would be asleep, so it would just be him and I time. His kids and his wife were asleep. It would just be him and I. So we would have these long conversations. We talk about sports and life and all the things, our supplements, our fitness, all the things. We just talk about all the things. And we would joke back and forth like, bro, this would be a great podcast. It'd be such a great podcast. At the time, I was already starting my blog, my original website, ballboyblog.com, which you think of that, you think baseball. It was baseball.
Yeah.
And I was starting that up. My divorce happened in spring of 2021. And after that, I kind of took a very long hiatus until that July of the following summer, when this idea kind of just happened. And no coincidence. I was healing. I was making progress. I was making strides. I actually came across a podcast called Single Dad Reboot by my friend Craig. He's been on the podcast a couple times. Listen to his podcast. He just being able to talk to him, being able to see out there, like, there's not much for like divorced men, single dads, dads in general out there when it comes to podcasts that are quality, that are just talking to all the people about all the things, all the different times of day. And
Yeah.
so then the idea kind of just came to me one day when I'm sitting at work. I'm working at a bank job, back office, miserable. So I spent a lot of my time being creative while working just enough to not get in trouble, and stuff like that. So then the Young Dad podcast kind of just came to mind because our last name is Young. So my last name is Young. And second of all, we both became dads when we were very young. He was 19, 20. I was 21, 22 when we had our first kid. And so we were super young. We were inexperienced, and we wished we would have had a podcast that we could have listened to that felt like a conversation, like we were just sitting there talking to whoever we're listening to. And that's kind of our goal, has always been our goal. It's like, if we can make someone laugh, we can make someone cry, if we can relate to someone, if we can inspire someone, if we can inspire a positive change. Like, if there's a dad listening to this right now, like, I've already had a few friends just from posting videos on Instagram that are like, oh, I went and got that supplement and tried it. It's great. I feel good. My bloating's down. like I'm feeling really good with it. Like I'm going to keep it going. They were like, I was hesitant at first. I don't really like that, but I was able to relate to him. Like, dude, I don't like vegetables. I don't like vegetables. Like, I cannot eat vegetables. It's a texture thing. I've never liked it going back to a little kid. But guess what? I'm almost 30. I need to have veggies or
Yeah.
something. I need to get those nutrients in because that's important for my body. Understanding that. So then the greens made sense. It supplements me in all the ways and then some because I'm guaranteeing I'm getting way more from that little scoop once a day than I ever will from eating a salad in a bag over the counter kind of thing.
Right.
Uh, so that's kind of where it spawned from, was just that idea, like we need to put something out for that. So then Young Dad Podcast, our last name is Young. We became dads really young. It made sense. It actually
Yep.
started as like a yin and yang symbol because my
Mhm.
brother and I are similar in a lot of ways, but we're also different in a lot of ways. But the ways we're different in, the other complements what you guys do now for Bucked Up in the brand.
Yep. Just like me and my twin. Yep.
So, and then it just kind of spiraled from there. Now we're um, 90, we're over 100 episodes deep. By the time this comes out, I think we'll be
Nice.
just over, this will probably be 101, 102, somewhere in there. So I'm really excited for that we 0.005%, so the top half percentage of podcasts in the world to make it this long. Technically would be a top podcast, because
Well,
of length and duration. So
thanks for
yeah,
having me. It's awesome. So,
so it's
and I have 4 kids. They're all getting a little bit older. And my only advice is spend as much time as possible with them. I'm a pretty busy guy and I spend a lot of time. My kids think I work a ton and, and just love them, for who they are and what they do. And sometimes, sometimes they might not do, you know, um, what you want them to do right away. But if you love them and they know that they're loved, they'll act appropriately and they'll respect what your wishes. So it's been great raising 4 kids, and they're all awesome. So they're all
definitely
really grateful for what we have, and it's just great to see them succeed in life and just watch them grow. So
definitely. So for you, just real quick here, is there anything that you wish you would have done? Of course, hindsight 2020, but
sure.
when you were first having kids, you were younger. Is there anything different that you wish you would have done in terms of with Bucked Up and your business adventures and your entrepreneurial journey, or anything different that you would have done in fatherhood, or trying to blend those two together? Things that you wish you would have done differently or changed?
Well, I learned really early on. I was trying to coach my kids, and I was trying to be their basketball coach, their soccer coach, things like that. And I realized, hey, they just want me to come and watch them play. They don't want me to coach them and be a coach. I'd rather be their dad, cheering them on and supporting them, rather than coaching them. And they felt like, hey, some of the things that I was telling them was criticizing them, and I just, looking back, I go, man, I wish I was a little more careful with that. But for the most part, I mean, they may harbor feelings, but it made them really competitive athletes, and they do really well with whatever sport they're in. But there's this give and take, and at this point, I'd rather just be their dad and go to their games and support them and watch them play, rather than be their coach. So
That's awesome. Now, in
yeah.
terms of your relationship, what are
Hmm.
some of your like biggest relationship advices? Being myself divorced, I'm getting remarried later this year,
Right.
um, or married to someone else, remarried to someone else completely different, my amazing fiance. But what kind of, if you had like one or two pieces of relationship advice that you would give, 23 years, that's a really long time.
Yep.
That's that's an achievement. 25 is right around the corner, and I'm sure you're going to go big for that. Maybe renew your vows or however that looks like during a BYU basketball game, maybe. But take her on the court, something like that, something crazy. But I'm just playing in relationships.
Honestly, look, communication is key. Therapy works. Therapy is healthy. Don't be afraid that, hey, if there's a lack of communication, you don't need to be, it's not shameful to go to therapy. My wife and I have been through a lot of therapy, and it's done wonders for our relationship and our marriage. And, there's some things that you're just not aware of that you're doing that triggers her, you know, childhood, and same with me, that she triggers some of the things in my childhood that doesn't work. And, you know, so it's just healthy to get therapy and understand each other and do that. And I'm not ashamed to say that I've gone through some therapy there. And I'm telling you, there's been times where me and my wife are at each other's throat and we're like, hey, we're gonna, if this doesn't work, we're gonna get it divorced. We walk into our therapy session, we walk out completely 180, loving each other, going, oh, I love you, this is great. And it's been really healthy for our relationship. We are members of the Mormon church, and, people think that, hey, I can just go talk to my bishop and everything will work out. No, he's not a professional therapist or a counselor. He can give you really good advice, but he may not have the best advice for a situation that you're currently in. So, I'm all about improving, self-improvement. I like going to self-improvement stuff. I've gone to a couple Tony Robbins things. I love positivity. I love energy. And my wife's on board with all of that as well. And she's awesome. She's great. She does a lot, and the thing is, just to be honest, you only go as far as what your partner is going to help you succeed to. And my wife is very supportive of what I do, how hard I work and what I do, that I'm constantly gone. Last week I was in GNC in Pittsburgh. I went to New Jersey. I went to Florida, and then I got back on Sunday, and I'm out of town a lot of the time. I go to expos still at this stage. I love meeting our customers, but it requires a healthy relationship to get through some of this stuff.
100%.
We're in an industry, like, just take a look at the fitness industry. You could be faced with a lot of challenges in a relationship if you're not trusting and have a healthy relationship. It could be really, really tough on. So it's been really great. My wife is super, like I said, she's awesome. She's really supportive, and I couldn't have done Bucked Up without her. No.
It's incredible. Well, hats off to you guys there. And then lastly, what's your like biggest piece of like health advice for the men out there that may be struggling with, men or women who are listening, who may be struggling with their health, with their nutrition, their supplementing, their just overall health and wellness? You had one piece of advice from everything that you've learned through Bucked Up. I mean, there's tons of different products on here. You can literally shop by your goal, which I've never ever seen before on any other website. You can shop by a goal,
Yeah.
which is really cool. But what kind of advice, like one or two pieces of advice?
I believe in consistency. The more consistent you are, the more growth that you're going to see over time. It's not something that can happen overnight. With eating, don't mix carbs and fats. So don't, eat a hamburger with rolls. You're going to just spike your insulin and suck in all that fat. And it's okay to eat fats and meats and protein together. It's pretty simple. And then when you go to work out and you're supplementing and you take a really good pre-workout, you can push it really, really hard, and your body is primed. Your body is primed to work out really hard if you're just doing that. I'm a firm believer that if people would realize, don't mix carbs with fats, that's going to solve a lot of issues for people. So,
Mm-hmm.
And then getting the proper supplementation, because there's some things that you just can't get through food. So
True. True. And then very last question, I'll let you go after this one. What is your favorite Bucked Up product of all time? Or what's your Bucked Up like truth or supplement? You're like, this supplement is the king, the goat, the deer antlers themselves, the 10-pointer. What is that?
yeah, it's honestly, it's the very first product we came out with, which was Bucked Up pre-workout. It's clinically, like, it's not too crazy, and it's not too, it'll still kick you in the pants, right? It's not too much. Sometimes people think, hey, more is better. It's not always that way. More is not always better. And if you understood the science on some of the products, like Bucked Up, it has vasodilation, and it also has caffeine, which is a vasorestrictor, but it doesn't have too much. You know what I mean? And Bucked Up is like the perfect amount of caffeine, the perfect amount of stimulant, the perfect amount of vasodilation. It's just overall, it's a really great product, and that's what I continue to take. Now, when it comes to flavor, I still love something a little more tart. So I love like a sour gummy versus like something sweet like a Rocket Pop, even though Rocket Pops are number one seller. And you can find those in Walmart and GNC. Like that Rocket Pop, you just won't go wrong with it. If you've ever had a red, white, and blue popsicle, it tastes just like it.
I have those in my freezer right now. It's what my kids are obsessed with.
Yep,
Um,
exactly.
you can't
So
beat that flavor.
that product is honestly, you're going to get a really good workout, really good pump, really good focus, really good energy. It's a great product, and people are still trying to compete with it today.
Definitely. Well, that's amazing. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for your time. This is the website for the people, buckedup.com. Super easy to find. You can find you guys all over social medias, all the platforms, all the handles, all the same Facebook, Instagram. Are you guys
Yep.
on Threads as well?
Yeah, we do have some on Threads, but I
Okay.
mean, we don't really do much there. But
Yeah, same. But just so many cool products over here. I'm really interested in this Buck Naked. I love me a good thermogenic fat
yep,
burner. I love me
look good
one of
to me.
those. So that's the goal,
Good to
right? Got
me.
to get that beach body. So, but I highly, 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 highly recommend Bucked Up. I'm low
Yeah,
and
organic USDA certified organic mixed greens. They're great.
they're my favorite. Check out my Instagram and you'll be able to see them in the picture every single day. Um, I'm on a consistency streak right now. I think 35 days. I've gotten 35 servings from the container. So my
Hmm.
container was packed really well. You guys don't skimp on the portions in those containers. They are packed. They have the little air thing and they have the scoop, and then that thing is packed to the brim.
Yep.
Uh, they don't skimp. They don't leave that much room in the container when you open it. It's not disappointing. They don't clump up. I've had pre-workouts that clump and they're gross and they're hard to scoop and not fun. They're great. This is the one that I was recommended based on the quiz. This one specifically, which makes sense. High stimulant, nootropic, kind of exactly what I do. My kind of thing here. So go and check you out some Buck. Brian, I appreciate all your time today. I really do.
Yeah, thanks for having me on your show, and hopefully this takes off. So